There's an old lighthouse just off the coast of Maine, Cape Harridan Light. Officially decommissioned in 1997, but still standing. Local fishermen say it never really went dark. On certain foggy nights, the beam turns slowly, casting an unnatural white over the water, even though the wiring was ripped out years ago. I didn't believe any of it. I was a maritime engineering student and needed a subject for my final report. So I made some calls, got in touch with the township, and they gave me permission to survey the site for educational purposes. My professor was impressed. I was proud. That pride didn't last. I arrived just after dawn on a chilly September morning. The island was little more than jagged rock and seaweed-covered cliffs. The lighthouse towered above me like a monolith, tall, cracked, and streaked with salt. The door was locked, rusted shut, but I forced it open with a crowbar. Inside, everything smelled of mold and iron. The air felt wrong, heavy, like the silence had weight. I began my survey from the ground up. Most of the floors were surprisingly intact, though the spiral staircase creaked under my boots. I made it to the beacon room just before noon. That's when I noticed it. The lens had been wiped clean. I ran my finger across the glass. No dust, no grime. Someone had been here, or something. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a dark object in the room's corner. A lantern, an old one. I picked it up. It was warm. Then, before I could process that, the lens behind me rotated, slowly. I hadn't touched it. No wind, no power. It was moving. I ran down the stairs, 2 steps at a time, my boots slamming on the iron. When I reached the bottom, I stopped cold. The door I had pried open, it was shut. No, slammed shut. And something was scratching at it from the outside. I backed away. That's when the light turned on. From inside the tower. It wasn't a beam this time. It was a pale, steady glow, coming from somewhere below the foundation. There was no basement. At least, none on any of the records I read. But the stone floor had seams, and in the middle, a hatch. I don't know why I opened it. I wish I hadn't. A narrow stone staircase spiraled downward into complete darkness. As I descended, the temperature dropped. I heard things, breathing, a wet, shuffling sound, and then the light above shut off. I was plunged into darkness. No flashlight, no phone signal, just my own heartbeat and the sound of someone else exhaling nearby. I don't remember climbing back up. I must have blacked out. I woke up outside, next to my bag, in the middle of a thick fog. My hands were cut, my boots soaked in something that smelled like seawater and decay. The ferry operator said I was late. He said I missed the first pickup and had been on that island for 48 hours. But I only remember one day. I never wrote the report. I burned my notes. But sometimes, when it's foggy, I dream about that light, and in the dream, it's watching me.
I was part of a 3-man team sent to document decaying coastal structures for a preservation initiative. We weren't supposed to enter any buildings, just photograph, sketch, and move on. But the last site on our list was St. Elwyn's Light, a tower isolated on a rock shelf only accessible during low tide. The boat dropped us off with instructions to be ready in 6 hours. The lighthouse looked abandoned from afar, but up close it was worse. Pitted stone, claw marks along the metal door. Claw marks. We joked about it, nervously. Probably rust. Or maybe seagulls. But there were no birds, not even sounds. Inside was bone dry, despite the sea spray. It was cold, though. Too cold. One of our team, Davis, said he felt sick and stayed outside. That left me and Rob to explore. We climbed to the top. The lens was cracked, but something shimmered behind it. Rob pressed his hand against the glass and jerked back like he'd been burned. His palm was bleeding. "Get out," he whispered. "It doesn't want us here." He rushed down the stairs. I followed, but the stairs seemed longer. The descent went on for far too long. When we finally reached the bottom, the door was wide open and Davis was gone. We searched the rocky ledge, called for him until our voices went hoarse. The fog rolled in so thick we could barely see the water. That's when we heard it, wailing. Not human, not animal, something in between. The sound of something drowning or waking up. Rob screamed. Something had grabbed his leg. I pulled him back just as something slithered from the mist, long, wet, and chattering. A pale shape with too many limbs. We ran into the lighthouse and barricaded the door. We stayed there until the boat arrived. They found us shivering and incoherent. No trace of Davis. Just his boots set neatly on the pier. I've had nightmares every night since. The kind where the fog creeps in under the door and the light upstairs flicks on by itself. Something lives in the fog. And that lighthouse wasn't built to guide ships. It was built to keep something in.